girls.
The previous episode of The Walking Dead really gave the season its own rhythm and voice. Episode 3, while not a total failure, squanders this potential. Instead of another emotionally charged and surprising episode, In Harm's Way is business as usual. The moments that should shock come across as expected since the story draws from scenarios you've likely seen several times before. A lot of these faults are because of Carver, the madman introduced in the last episode. Carver kidnaps Clementine and her group, holding them hostage at his camp. At a glance, this location seems like a dream. There's plenty of food, it's secure, and the walls are watched by armed men 24 hours a day. It hardly matters though, since Carver treats everyone like a slave and won't hesitate to kill just because someone looked at him the wrong way.
You don't want to test me, girl. I'll pass every time.
While not an exact duplicate, Carver has much in common with the Governor, an important villain in the Walking Dead comic and TV show. Both characters believe their way of thinking to be the best and are willing to instill fear through violence to enforce that vision. Even if you aren't familiar with other Walking Dead properties, you'll likely know what Carver is going to say before he says it. He issues speech after speech about justifying his actions for the greater good of the group. Other characters have made awful and irrational decisions in both seasons, but these decisions usually stem from an understandable, or at least sympathetic place. Because Episode 3 never shows us a human side of Carver, he's only a token villain. Telltale tries its best to make us hate Carver, but nearly all of these attempts feel forced.
I have one arm.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
The other significant problem with In Harm's Way is that it stunts Clementine's development. In Episode 1, Clementine learns to survive on her own, and in Episode 2, she slowly earns the trust of a new group. Throughout both episodes, she displays an array of emotions, but here, she's almost nothing but an errand girl. When the group needs something important, Clementine has to sneak her way around looking for it. If a plan is devised, Clementine always plays the most pivotal and dangerous role, despite the rest of the group consisting almost entirely of adults. There's hardly any logic in it, and it seems the only reason it has to be Clementine is because you control her. There's even a small joke where you can have Clementine say, "Why does it always have to be me?" But such self-awareness doesn't make the game any less guilty.
Ouch.
It would be less noticeable if Clementine wasn't so deadpan throughout most of the episode. We don't learn anything about her, nor does she grow in any meaningful way. Even when horrifying things occur in front of her, she hardly reacts. Perhaps Telltale is trying to convey that Clementine is becoming numb after so much hardship, but if so, that message isn't coming across. Instead, she's a tool to drive things forward, rather than the driving force in her own story. One of the greatest strengths of the first season is that it goes in many directions, but always keeps Lee and Clementine's relationship at its core. Both characters shape one another, and by the end of the season, they're entirely different because of each other. In Harm's Way lacks that anchor, the thing that ties it all together, making it feel aimless and inessential. That's not to say the episode doesn't have bright spots, with the most noticeable being Bonnie, a character introduced in 400 Days. In the last episode, she tricked Clementine's group, essentially causing their kidnapping. Here, we get to see Bonnie express guilt over that action. She's a convincing character, largely because she doesn't always know what to say. In an attempt to apologize for everything she's done, Bonnie gives Clementine a ridiculously bright and ugly jacket. It's obvious she doesn't have an eye for fashion, but that's exactly what makes her so sincere. It's one of the few moments where a lot is conveyed through so little.
It's kinda ugly.
Hopefully this episode will be nothing more than a misstep in an otherwise excellent season and not a sign of things to come. Plenty of important things happen and there's a lot of action, but none of it carries the weight that it should. Instead, In Harm's Way is mostly a bullet point list of zombie story cliches without many of the excellent character interactions we've come to expect from Telltale. It's certainly troubling when characters get killed, and the only thing you feel is indifference.